know when you're actually communicating with people. So there's three aspects to every single direct marketing business. There is the products, there's the compensation plan, and there's you. So every company has products. Every company has compensation plans. There's different kinds of compensation plans, but every company has a product and a compensation plan. And then there's you. And the only differentiator between different companies or different businesses is you. Right? So the thing to go to work on when it comes to building your business is yourself. So that's what, in a lot of ways, that's what Eric Worre talks about this a lot, and he talks about network marketing as, and Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad as well, or he wrote a book called The Business of the 21st Century. The thing that makes network marketing unlike any other type of business, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, whether you're purple. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic class you came from. It really is an even field. So people come in, and the only difference between people that succeed in this business and people that fail in this business is really the work that they put in, and whether they work with the people who brought them into the business. And that's why this type of thing is extremely exciting, because when you have leaders who are willing to stand for you, and you have a community of people who are willing to train you, as Eric Worre says, the best trained team wins, and that's just flat out. And if you can plug yourself into a system, that's how you create duplication, that's how you win as a team. And so, for a lot of people, that's massive. So, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You may be 45, you're a secretary, and you don't love what you do. Well, guess what? You have an opportunity to start from nothing. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You have an opportunity to come in and go toe-to-toe with somebody who maybe has come in and has been a phenomenal salesman his whole life, right? So we've gone over the why, and we've talked about the fact that there is a what and a how. We talked about the importance of the why, and now for the rest of the time, what we'll actually go through is the how and the what, because it is good to know the nuts and bolts as well. So there are basically four pillars of belief when it comes to your network marketing business. There is the company, there's the products, there's the model of network marketing itself, and then there's yourself. And it's such a simple concept, but it's unbelievably powerful, because if your business isn't growing, there's only one of four reasons why. And it's because your belief is not high enough in one of, actually it could be multiple reasons why. But these are the four areas that you have to master. And so if you're someone who is a little bit hesitant to go out and talk to people about your business because you're afraid of network marketing, or you're afraid to tell people that you're in direct sales, then guess what? You need to go out and read GoPro. You need to go out and listen and read people who understand what network marketing is and can rewire your brain to understand why it's not only not something to be ashamed of, but it's really the business of the 21st century, and we're actually ahead of the curve, right? When you make that shift, it's a massive shift. If you don't have belief in the company, right, go to convention. You'll get that settled very, very quickly, right? I think it's 3 or 4 years in a row USANA has won the best event of any event that's not an athletic or a music conference. So they win event of the year every year. So it's an absolute epic time. You'll go, you see the company, you get to see all the biggest leaders. Every single shift that I've had in this business has taken place at convention or at some sort of regional event. I know for me last year, when I went and saw Jordan Kemper talk about presenting, and that was a huge shift for me. I wasn't prepared for it. I was just there because I love Jordan Kemper. He's the guy that I go to when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do moving forward in the business. And there was a moment when he was presenting when I actually realized that's what I want to do. I want to be that guy on the stage doing that. And in that moment, it wasn't like, that didn't occur for me as some dream or some fantasy. I could see myself on the stage doing that type of thing, right? And that's something that I would never have had access to watching his videos on YouTube, right? It was actually being in his presence and being able to be in an atmosphere where you get connected to, holy snikes, this thing's way better, bigger than I ever thought. And there's, thousands and thousands and thousands of people from all across the world that fly in just for this one event. Last year, our team in New Zealand had 22 people fly from New Zealand. And for people who don't know where New Zealand is, it's literally the farthest place on the planet from here. It's not a cheap trip. And I kid you not, if we go and actually look at the people that in the last year have made massive shifts and huge growths in their business, every single one of them were people who went to the convention last year. So that's how important the convention is. So when it comes to you, the people that I use, Tony Robbins is a huge mentor of mine. He's been in my brain for the last 10 years every single day. I have a regiment where I wake up early in the morning, probably 5 days a week, and every single time I run, Tony Robbins is in my ear yelling at me. And he's done more for rewiring my psychology than anyone else on the planet. And then there's another book called The 10 Pillars of Self-Esteem that if you're someone who struggles with a bit of reluctance when it comes to believing that you're someone who can do this thing, great book, very easy read. He's written a number of other books as well, and it's all about self-love and self-belief and how to cultivate that within yourself. So that was something that's been very powerful for me. And when it comes to the products, you just have to be on the products. And I tell my guys when they come in, use auto order as an opportunity, especially when you first start. It's something that you can switch, you can mix and move every single month, right? So you want to be using a different product every single month until you use them all, right? If you're a man, obviously you don't want to use the estrogen supplements, things like that. But as far as it goes, you really want to use as many of the products as you can.
Couldn't have told me that last month.
And also, start paying attention to the people in your life who take the products, people in your downline, the kind of transformations that they have. For me, I got back in the U.S. last May, and since I've been home, my mom's lost 24 pounds, my dad's lost 27 pounds, my younger brother got married. The week after he got married, he signed up. He went to convention actually, and then he signed up for his first half marathon. And between after convention and the half marathon, he lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
Right. So it's like massive transformation inside my family, and I had very little to do with that aside from try the products. They're great products, and then they had huge transformations. So getting really present to the impacts of, for people in your life is massive. 3 levels of being in network marketing, and this is something that comes directly out of GoPro, which is a book. It's about that big. It's written by Eric Worre, and it's completely transformed the entire network industry. So this guy has really positioned himself as the guru in terms of network marketing. So if you haven't read GoPro and you are a distributor, or you're interested in learning more about what network marketing is, GoPro is the book to go to. The author's name is Eric Worre. And I actually have the audio version for people in the room that prefer audiobooks and haven't listened to it. I listened to the first half of the book on repeat over and over again every day until I think I got about 30 listens in, until the sections on prospecting, contacting, inviting were literally burnt into my brain. So in that book, he talks about the 3 levels of network marketing. The first being posers. So there's posers, amateurs, and there's network marketing professionals. And so a poser is someone that basically the poser is someone who joins because they know about 2 or 3 people in their lives who they think will do this thing. One of them they think will be really good, and they essentially sign up because they want to get rich quick, or someone has lied to them or given them some sort of false expectation, or they just made that up themselves, or whatever the case may be. It's someone who got into the business on essentially a hope or a prayer that someone is either going to come along and build their business for them. They will find someone along the way who will just blow up and they won't have to do anything for the rest of their lives, or whatever the case may be. Posers are people who essentially their contact list includes the 4 or 5 people that they have in their mind at any given time. Those names may shift from time to time, but they never commit their contact list to paper. It's something that they always keep in their head, and their careers are generally pretty short. Basically, they hang around for a couple of months waiting for the 1 or 2 people who they thought would really do it to either say yes or no. If the person says yes, then they probably have another 4 to 5 to 6 months of their network marketing career left in them until that person either sizzles out or whatever the case may be. But the reality is that's about 80% of the people that are in network marketing. So, sometimes people get discouraged about that, but it's good to be realistic, right? The majority of the people that are in network marketing are people, maybe they don't go away, but they just go back to taking the products. So I'm sure people that have been around for a long time, you do have a lot of people who will start working the business for a while. They love the products because they're absolutely phenomenal, and then they're just people who end up, just becoming preferred customers essentially. The next level is what we call the amateur. So the actual definition of an amateur is a person who engages in a study, a sport, or any activity for pleasure rather than for financial benefit or professional reasons. Right? So the amateur is, you can see at the bottom, it's about 10% of the people in the company. They are people that are there physically, they show up to events, they have a physical names list, but their business is basically located on their names list. And they really do, somewhere in their brain, they believe that if and when that names list were to ever run out, then their business is finished. So they actually equate their business with the immediate sphere of influence that they think that they have in their own life. So the key limitation to the amateur is that like I said, they equate their contact list with their business. And they think that the person who has the most names on their list or the biggest sphere of influence has the best shot at success. And more importantly, their success is determined by the list. So it's also very evident when you talk to people who are just sort of getting introduced to network marketing, the idea that I don't know enough people. Right? The mentality is actually very similar to the person who's already in the business that thinks that they're actually limited by the amount of people that they can think of that they know, and the person from the very beginning who says to themselves, I don't know enough people. Right? They haven't made the step outside of that, which the reality is the world is very full of people. You can move back to a different country after being gone for 6 years, use social media, reach out to people, and create a community from nothing in a couple of weeks. You can get onto Facebook, join a running club, meet 10 people in one day. You can plug yourself into communities of people infinitely. The world that we exist in now, we are networks. As human beings, we exist we are one node in another network that is a gigantic freaking network. The world is a network. And so that's why right now is the prime time to be involved in a business where the whole essence of the business is networking. Getting out there, meeting people. They're likely to remain in the business for a while, attend a few events, and then, so again, they begin to fizzle out as they have the experience of running out of people to talk to. And that's the important thing. It's actually a psychological phenomenon. It's not true, and it's not real, right? Some fear that they have drives a particular thought called, I'm running out of people to talk to. Now, some of that is caused by them not being trained in the beginning, and so they went around and they did something that we really frown on, which is going out before you know what you're doing, and just hitting people over the head with the idea that you have a new shiny toy. And they have the experience of driving people away. That is a very real phenomenon, right? So that is a fear that is based in reality. And the point is that if you train people the right way, you don't have that. You don't have that problem, right? And if you become a professional, you wouldn't behave that way in your office, right? So the rule of thumb is if you wouldn't behave that way in your office, don't behave that way out in the world. But the main thing is that people that are in the amateur ranks, they really are treating their business as a hobby instead of like a business. And that's the main thing to get, is that the big shift for people happens when they really, really get in here. This is, wow, like this is a business. And it means I have to work on my business as hard as I would if I owned my own business or if I was working for someone else. Set hours, daily methods of operation, particular things that are the exact same skills that would have one, be successful in a traditional business. They relate to their business as that type of business, and that's a huge shift because in the beginning it really does seem like this is a fun kind of hobby type of thing. You can have a lot of fun, which is also very, very true, right? But there's real work that goes into being successful in network marketing, if that's what you want to do, right? Some people, they just want to have a couple extra $1,000 at the end of the year to go on vacation, and that's fine too. But it's the same skills that get you the $1,000. You just work less hours. So going pro is the final stage. And so the definition of professional is someone who's engaged in a specific activity as one's main paid occupation rather than as a pastime. So I think that there's a continuum here. I think that you can actually go pro and still not have it be your only source of income. I think being a professional is really a mindset. It's relating to what you're doing as a business, and it has the intention of taking your business to a place at some point in time where it is your main financial income stream, or what you're doing in your life. So I do think that going pro is actually more of a psychological shift than it is what one does from a daily standpoint in terms of actions. But as Eric Worre says, committing to mastery, becoming a network marketing professional, which is mastering a very limited set of skills, takes time. So as we'll talk in a minute, he talks about a 1, 3, 5, 7-year plan. And really being someone who masters this, like Malcolm Gladwell says, takes 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours to mastery. So there is a very limited set of skills that you need in order to be successful in network marketing, but you have to hammer them just like any other skills that you would need to master to be good at anything. So generally, people that have gone pro are people that have failed more than anyone else and been able to come back from failing more than anyone else, and they have a relationship to failure as that which is necessary in order for them to fulfill on whatever dream that they have. I think being successful in any business or in any craft that you really want to take from a hobby level to a very, very high level is gaining a relationship to failure that is very positive, and not seeing failure as something that means anything about who you are as a person, but you see failure as a real positive stepping stone towards you fulfilling on whatever it is that you want. So as a pathway to success, basically. So it's less about the actual results and more about their relationship to the business, as I said. So attend pros. As he says in Go Pro, the thing that marks professionals more than anything else is that there are people who attend major events every single year. They make a point to go every single year, and they increase their downline, the people that come with them to the events every single year. And so their relationship to one of the most important skills We won't talk about this a lot tonight because it's more of a high level skill, I think. But it is understanding that events are really your access to creating massive long-term success, because they, more than anything else, sitting in a living room listening to a guy they don't know talk about what the skills are to network marketing, it gets people enrolled in something that's bigger than themselves, and it actually allows them to see that they can do it. And then, as Eric Worre says, network marketing professionals are primarily promoters. So they are people who have mastered the skill of promoting. They, whether it's an event in their home, whether it's their kid's lemonade stand, whatever it is, right? They've mastered the skill of being able to enroll people into being involved in something, because they have mastered the ability to have people see the bigger picture, right? And being able to articulate what that looks like. And so the biggest difference between amateurs and pros is professionals are primarily promoters. Oh, and then he also says that one of the big differences is professionals have mastered the ability to always be evolving their contact list and their sphere of influence. They've mastered the ability to go to parties and come back with 10 business cards and not just throw them in a drawer, right? So how many people own their own businesses or have been in the situation where you go to networking events in order to help your company grow? Okay, so at least half the people in the room. One of the things that's very typical about people that go to networking events is they go, they have fun, they have some wine, they meet people, they get 45 business cards, they wrap a rubber band around it, and then it goes in their drawer in the office. And they never follow up with a single person. And that is the difference between someone who hasn't made that shift yet. Usually it's because if they own their business, they don't understand the value of that, or if they work for someone else, it's someone else's business, right? They don't understand that in that stack of cards is 1,500 other people, right? So Harvey Mackay wrote a book called How to Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive, and he said that when he was 18 years old. I don't know if has anybody else read that book? I think he was 18. His dad sat him down and said, Harvey, from starting right now, every single person that you meet for the rest of your life, you will say their name 3 times, remember their name, you will get their contact information, and you will find a creative way to be in touch with that person. And Harvey Mackay said that's what he did for the rest of his life, and he's now, I don't know, 80 something. He's an older gentleman, but he has the most massive, the biggest network on the freaking planet, right? The guy has massive influence because he mastered one skill. Hi, my name is John. You get the person's contact information, and now even more than ever with Facebook and LinkedIn and with 400 different channels to interact with people, it really is a social norm to meet someone, go home, look them up on Facebook, friend them, and say, hey, great to meet you last night. We should keep in touch. Very, very simple. And then, you're connected to that person in a particular way. And, that's how you build